Well, hey YouTube, my name is Ted. Nice to meet you all. This is my first video review after about 4 years of blogging about hiking, climbing, and gear. I decided it was about time that I start to actually talk on video and show some more of the things that are important to me and the gear I use. Alright, let's get started. So off to the side you can probably see a whole bunch of gloves, which I'm going to use today in helping to explain these guys, the Black Diamond Arc gloves. Now this is one of my absolutely favorite gloves in the market for alpine climbing, general snow sports, things where you're active in harsh terrain. Even if it's not snowing, if it's just cold and icy out, it's a great glove. Let's talk about what really goes into the typical snow glove. And there really are two sides to this. On one hand, you have something like this. This is the Black Diamond Patrol. It's a phenomenal glove, but it's very heavy, bulky, can't do a whole lot of mobility with it, and certainly are going to be pretty toasty if you're wearing this around on a decent day or while you're decently active. On the other hand, you have a glove like this. This is the Mountain Hardwear Torsion. It's very reflective of what I call a midweight glove, where you have a glove that's flexible. You can tie a shoe, put on a pair of crampons relatively easily with these. You've got a grip material on the front for holding the ice axe. There's a little insulation in it. The downside here, there's no waterproofing, and that's true of so many gloves in this class. It also doesn't have a whole lot of insulation, so if it gets cold or if you run cold, you're kind of stuck having to glove up into that bulkier glove pretty early on. And that's pretty representative of alpine glove options, at least within a reasonable price point. Either you add a lot of bulk for good insulation and waterproofing, or you give up those two features to get something lighter and more flexible. The Arc really bucks those trends, and there are 4 reasons why I think it creates a great glove. So first up, and the most important feature I think you need to look for in an alpine glove, is waterproofing. Black Diamond has their BD Dry insert in this glove. It's the same concept used in the Patrol and the Guide gloves. And what that means is that rather than having some external coating or spray to keep the glove waterproof, there's actually material inside the glove that stops water from coming through. In my experience, it works pretty well. I certainly have times where I'll bring wet hands into the gloves, or I'll get some water in from the top since it's not a very long glove. But generally, if my hands are touching snow, like I'm down climbing a technical section of the mountain by my standards, or if I'm just out playing in the snow and making snowballs, there's nothing coming in my glove that's notable. It's not soaking through. Next up is the exterior materials. On the back side, the glove has a very typical Velcro strap, synthetic materials, a little bit of leather or pleather treatment around the index finger, but overall, the back side of your glove is not getting a whole lot of abrasive use, hopefully. So the front of the glove has a really cool technology. I'm not sure what the actual technical makeup of it is. It's called oil tack or tack oil, but the result is a surface that's really good at holding things. It's very grippy. So whether you're doing a little bit of climbing on rock, or you're holding an ice axe in your hand, or just moving a backpack, it doesn't slip through your hand. At the same time, it's pretty good at taking a beating. I've taken these gloves across cable climbs, over some cascade rock, lots of different places where you need to be able to put your hand into contact with a abrasive material. And while I can definitely see wear patterns in some areas that could be starting to rip through, well, hopefully not, they're holding up. So the last part of the glove that I think really matters is the insulation. There's 40 grams of thin-sill insulation here, which gives a temperature rating of 15 on the low end, 40 on the high end. Certainly, you can wear them higher, which you can have hot hands. And I've definitely taken them colder. I run pretty warm myself, but I've had them at the top rainier the first day I bought them, and it was well below 15 with wind chill. Definitely pushing the edge of comfort for me, but didn't feel like I had to change out the gloves. So it's not a ton of insulation by alpine standards. The Patrols have 100 grams and go down to 0 degrees. You're not going to get that immediate feeling of putting your hands into the warmest thing ever to put these on, but they really do warm up. So last off, you have the flexibility of the gloves. And I have both on now to try to show you the size. It's hard to demonstrate how much dexterity you have with the glove in a video, but I'd say that tying my shoes is possible, although not fun and rarely happens when we take them off. But anything above that, I can do pretty well with these. Certainly climbing, anything technical, I have no problem belaying or using a rope and whatnot in these gloves, as long as it's not overly precise. Every glove has negatives. Some are absolute, and some are more about what you personally want. One worth mentioning for sure is the insulation. 40-gram Thinsulate is a really good level for me. I can use these gloves on pretty cold days, and I don't overheat on just chilly days. But there are definitely people who run a lot colder who have to change up gloves pretty early on, and a lot of times you want a glove of this size, so having a little more insulation would have probably been something that some people would like. So the second one is durability, and again, I haven't had any problems. I only see a few wear spots. I've had these gloves on at least 50 times in the last year across a lot of terrain, but it's always worth mentioning they're definitely not going to last forever, and the materials that they have on this glove certainly look like they're designed for really specialized use, which means they tend to wear down faster than if you just make very durable substances. But the real downside of these gloves is actually rather silly, or at least the reason for it is rather silly, if you ask me. In some gloves, the interior and exterior materials are completely bonded together with glue or sewn, and these gloves are not. So what will happen is people will go to take the gloves off, and the inside liner will stick to their fingers because their fingers are sweaty, and the outside will continue to move. And the result is that the glove separates to a degree. It doesn't completely come out, but you're left on the mountain trying to get your gloves relined up, and that's just not acceptable when you're in really cold places, maybe in a precarious spot. I had this happen to me a bunch at first with the gloves, and it was definitely annoying and definitely a concern that made me almost not want to wear the gloves. However, it's worth saying that within a couple weeks of having the gloves, that problem went away from me. I think part of it is that I've learned to take them off by kind of holding the tops, as you can see, and also because it's been really cold out in winter, and even though my hand sweats, the whole glove is getting cold in a better way, and somehow that's adhering it together a little better. Aside from that, really one major drawback, I think these gloves are great. Waterproof, insulated, durable, grippy, flexible, and so much more all at once. Overall, I give these a 4.5 star rating. I think they're a great all-around solution for an active alpine adventure, whether that's snowshoeing, alpine climbing, or skiing and snowboarding the right days, where the temperature ratings match up. You get a great glove here with some great features at a great price. If you have any of your own thoughts, questions, or if you've tried these gloves and have a different experience, please leave a comment below so everybody else can see what you have to say.